So if you want to know what the deal is with this thing, stick around. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson from the Knife Center, and it's our favorite time of the week because the coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves are right here in front of me. All right, I won't make you wait to figure out what that knife is, that knife was, and is. This is the Serge Panchenko Coin Claw, the 5th generation in automatic form. It is a 2-inch coin of titanium, stacked coins perhaps, with an automatic firing S35VN Hawk Bill blade, like 1.2 inches or so on it. Yes, this could be certainly useful day to day as a package or box opener. It's not going to be a very versatile carrying knife, but just sort of like a utility thing, you know, breaking into packages, like I said. It would certainly do the job there. I do think it's a little bit more of a curiosity than a super practical knife, however, just because it's a little fiddly or I don't know. Thomas, you had a word.
Writing. 2 words.
2 words. It's hyphenated, that could be 1 word. So it's a little bit tricky to close, as you can see here. You have to push on this back section of the spine, and then you really have to like be sure you've pushed it all the way in, because the spring tension on that automatic action is pretty strong. So there you go, you can hear the click. And being circular, it's harder to find areas to kind of brace off of to close it as well. And you've got a little bit of edge exposed here on the inside at the same time as well. So if that's still your thing, go forth and be merry. Just be aware what you're getting into. Now I haven't tried, let's try this actually. No, see, that doesn't even work very well either. Yeah, it's not a fast closer. Makes up for that for being a fast opener, I guess. But there you go. It's about $400, so it is pricey for sure. If you're into it though, and you want to make it a little easier, we do have Sezzle payment options. If you want to break it up into some, I think it's 4 payment chunks. Thomas held up 4 fingers. Either means it's 4 chunks or he wants to slap me. I'm not sure.
That's 5 finger.
Oh, that's the 5 finger, yeah. It does also come with this canvas pouch. It's got MOLLE straps on the back that work as belt loops also, and comes with a handkerchief with the old Plague Doctor on there. I won't unfold it all the way, but that is the whole package. You can check it out at the links below, or at the particular link below, if you're interested. Next up, we have got a new version of the Bel Air from Kershaw. This is, I believe, the first version with a non-black MagnaCut blade at the entry-level price point for this knife. That being about $150. Let me confirm that real quick. It's the first one I can recall. $195, you can get the carbon fiber version. Oh, there is one other version, sorry, with an OD green handle with a stone-washed blade at the $149.95 price point. But this one with the gray aluminum is definitely a little more subtle, kind of the gray man version essentially of the Bel Air right here. Fantastic value for a US-made knife though, for sure. 3.1-inch blade, MagnaCut as mentioned, very, very thin with a full flat grind. It's just a great everyday general use pocket knife with a great steel there, long-lasting edge, nice thin blade. That the toughness that MagnaCut brings to the table is going to be an advantage there. It means you could probably thin the edge out for even more scalpel-like efficiency in your cutting, which is pretty cool. The aluminum is not too slick. It's got a little bit of texture to it, so it doesn't feel like it's going to slip out of your hands. Ambidextrous crossbar lock, ambidextrous deep carry pocket clip right there, or reversible deep carry pocket clip. Definitely keeping it well buried in the pocket and invisible to all but those in the know. Very cool knife. I won't talk too much more about it because we've talked about it a bunch before, but it's a cool new version and you could get it now if you were interested. Next up is a brand that's new to us here at the Knife Center. We've recently brought in Latama Cutlery. This knife right here is the Virtu button lock flipper, $250 for it. Very clean presentation in terms of logos, at least for the people that don't like a lot of logos on their blades. Very clean. You've just got the branding on the back spacer of the knife here, and that is it. Blade itself, sheep's foot, 3¼ inch, or about 3⅛ of an inch, I should say. M390 steel, so the edge is going to last quite nicely. And you got that nice, straight, aggressive cutting profile of that sheep's foot blade. Areas in the cutouts there. Let's see, I haven't tried yet to do... Can we do a reverse flick? I might be able to do a pinky flick. Maybe not. Getting there. There we go. Okay, you can do a reverse flick with it if you want. The action itself is good with the button lock there. Finger safe closing action. Same thing enjoyed by the crossbar lock on that Bel Air as well, it should be mentioned. Overall, just feels really nicely put together. Solid feel in the hand. It's not a super slim knife. It gives you a little bit to hold on to. Milled clip with a ball bearing on the end. Like I said, about $250 for this knife. Feels nice. Next up from them, we have got the, what is this? The Yuuki, coming in about $200. Titanium handles, again, 20 CV for the steel in this case. So an American-made steel, for the time being anyway. Aerosteel has bought the Crucible plant, so who knows how much longer that will be. $200, as mentioned. It doesn't feel quite as elevated as the as the Virtu. I almost forgot the knife's name. You know, the design doesn't feel, or feels a little more generic. The handles feel a little less refined. But again, about $200 for a button lock flipper with titanium and 20 CV means the value is pretty decent. Action is also quite good. You've got a hollow grind on this drop point blade, actually compound grinds, hollow grind on the main section and flat there near the tip, giving you a little bit more strength at the tip than if it were hollow grind. Feels pretty decent in the hand. The only thing I'm not super big of a fan of is the positioning of this pocket clip right here. It follows the spine. It's kind of digging into me just a little bit. Your mileage could vary, of course, but apart from that, clean design, materials are good. Even less branding than the Virtu, just right here on the edge of the or the back of the spine right there. Finger choil area, my finger size just barely nestles in there, but it is overground, so watch the back of the edge if you're holding it like that. Let's check out the action on this bad boy. Flips nicely. Reverse flicks, not so well for me. Your mileage, again, may vary. Next up, another new brand added to the KnifeCenter here. That is North Mountain Blade. We actually got a bunch of stuff. I've only got 3 of the models we've added in front of me here, just cause. And this first one offers a lot for the money. This is the Chop Plus. It is a $130 knife. Blade itself, 3¾ of an inch long. And check it out. The blade is really kind of the highlight of this knife, and the next one actually. The steel is called SLD Magic. And it features a hamon right here, which looks very cool. It's a big solid chunk of it. What is that steel, you ask? Well, it's a new one to me. In the research I've been able to do so far, it seems to be a derivative of the D2 family, but kind of heavily modified form of D2. They say it has significantly more toughness than D2 and can achieve higher hardnesses more reliably too, at the expense of some edge retention versus your run-of-the-mill D2. So this is a more tough, abusable, hard use blade steel than D2 is usually thought of as being. And they've dressed it up with the cool hamon like effect here too, which I think is very cool. The handles give credence to that thought of this being a heavier use knife. It is G10. It is thick. There is plenty of meat there to grab a hold of. Just really, really satisfying to hold. We do have a pocket clip right here, single position. Not a ton of clearance on there, but it is there. And you've got a hidden lanyard point at the back. The inset liner lock as well to keep things secure. And the other hidden thing that you probably didn't see before is the kickstop flipper, the Lee Williams kickstop mechanism, which basically is this flipper tab is independent of the blade, as you can see, but it operates like a regular flipper, and then it just tucks in and sits right at the back of the knife right there, giving you a very clean presentation or very clean design and grip on the front of the knife. I think it's very cool. Like I said, about 130 bucks for that particular version. There are M390 versions with fancier handles. They can go up to about $280 or so, depending on which version you get. Some of them may even be more than that. Here's a $240 version with a cool inlay. You can check out the whole selection below. But next up, we have their Guardian, a liner locking knife. This one is a little bit kind of outside the mainstream, but I really dig what we've got here. And when I say it's outside the mainstream, in this case, that means there's no pocket clip on this knife. There's also no, I don't think there's a pocket slip or anything either. Was there, Thomas, in the box?
I don't remember. That was this morning.
We'll check to make sure. If there is, you'll see it in B-roll right now. If not, you'll see a thing up here that says there's not. Okay, now that we've covered that, $180 for this version. That same steel, that SLD with the hamon. It's a little less prominent of a hamon in this case because you've also got a horizontal kind of a hand-rubbed style grain finish on this, which masks that hamon line a little bit, but gives you a much more premium feel to the knife, almost like a custom knife level, custom knife maker style of finish. And that is kind of also reinforced by the thickness of the handle here too. This is not a slim carrying knife, and I'm used to seeing these kind of oversized dimensions on some custom knives out there, some custom folders. So that's pretty cool. Custom pivots right here. You've got a little bit of texture. That front and back pivot can actually be kind of like a thumb pad, giving you some traction there to push off on, which is pretty neat. Liner lock in this case, as you can see, really nicely finished mirror polished spine right there. Marbled carbon fiber for the handles. Technically a front flipper, but can I flip it? I kind of can, so that's pretty cool too. Like the blade shape, I like the little drop to the edge, but yeah, the shape overall feels a little bit distinct. You've got a mid-height flat grind with a big swedge along the most of the entirety of the spine as well. Carbon fiber backspacer. Blade 3.4 inches long. Doesn't feel quite that big though. It feels very tidy, very compact, but should give you some good performance. Again, several versions of that. They've got some fixed blades. They've also got this particular slip joint, which is really cool. What they've done here is they've created a true modern traditional. You know, there are screws here as opposed to like peened pins, but other than that, it looks completely old school. And yet, M390 for the blade steel right here at $144 price point. So it's not even that astronomically expensive. And what they've given you for that $144 is really impressive too. You've got desert ironwood handles, finely finished bolsters here. Again, that same kind of hand-rubbed satin finish on the blade. The logo marking here, which, what does it say? It says Bountain? I don't even know what that means. But it has the appearance of being kind of like hand etched with a like with an etching pen onto the blade. Again, feels just like this previous knife, kind of like a custom, and yet it's only $144. That's pretty cool. 3.13 inches on that clip point M390 blade, full flat grind, hand rubbed finish. Good walk and talk. Not the stiffest, not the weakest, just solidly where it needs to be. Perfectly flush back spring. It's super nice. All right, next we have from Mechforce and designer Peter Carey, we have the Roadster. Again, this is what I'm talking about by some of that kind of custom level quality. Even though this is a production knife, this has the same hallmarks as like the Peter Carey custom versions of these knives. This is the least expensive of the four right now, $410. For an extra $10, you can get some fat carbon handle options. But actually they're not fat carbon, but similar style to those. But I like this Ivory G10 version because I think the Ivory G10 with the Stonewash titanium integral bolsters here just looks very, very good. Blade itself is M390, 3¼ inches long, horizontal hand-rubbed finish, which is very nice. Nice stout tip there. Really kind of leans into what we stereotypically or originally thought of as what Tanto blades did best here in the US is tip strength. You've got it here for sure. M390, not the toughest steel in the world, does hold an edge super well, but that extra kind of stoutness at the tip will give it back some of the strength that it gives up for that high performance alloy. Titanium clip matches the finish of the bolster. We've got that bolster style frame lock right there. Let's check out the flip. Yeah, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Feels very, very good. Yeah, I was gonna say more, but it just feels very, very good overall. Check them out. Now, if the style and aesthetic of this knife appeals to you, but that price range does not, maybe check out this. This is the Bear & Son Lawman. It's about $142, and it definitely does not have the same high degree of fit and finish that this Mechforce does, but stylistically, it gets you in a similar ballpark at least. But the blade itself, drop point, 3.42 inches, a carbon steel Damascus blade with a full flat grind, good usable shape, and of course the style of that Damascus. Actually, I'm assuming it's a carbon steel Damascus. Nothing here is leading me to think otherwise. Should I taste it? No. You can taste the difference between simple carbon steels and stainless steels, don't you know? But this hasn't been sanitized first, so I don't want to like lick up any oils or anything.
Sanitize after too.
You would have to do that. I'm not gonna lick the inventory. I'm sorry, folks. The bolster here is carbon fiber, and we've got bone handles and a crossbar lock. So it's a really cool synthesis of vintage and modern stuff, like an older school Damascus and even older school handle material, natural bone, with carbon fiber and a crossbar lock. It's a pretty cool synthesis. Deep carry pocket clip, right side only in this case. Let's check out the action. Yeah, it's good. Whether you're using the wrist flick to open and close, or whether you're using the thumb studs, they both feel nice. Actually, really nice profile in the closed position as well. Nice and narrow, gonna be easy to find space in your pocket. Not nice and slim if that's your thing, but if you want, more girth, here's another option for you. Not as girthy as the North Mountain blades, but just to compare it to one of the great modern slim folders, the Bel Air right there. Just two different flavors of a type of thing you could go for. Gives you a bit more meat. Actually, that Kershaw there is an interesting thing to mention here, because this next knife from Bear, under the Bear Ops label, the Nekama, is clearly taking heavy inspiration from the Kershaw Iridium in its handles. Normally, I wouldn't always mention, competitors to a particular knife's design, but with this handle, it's kind of hard to avoid that comparison. No, it's not an exact copy, but it feels almost like it is, if you know what I mean. But the reason I still want to show it here on the table is this is a US-made knife compared to the Iridium's Chinese manufacture, and yet this is less. This is about $63, so it's like $2 less than your baseline Iridium. The fit and finish don't feel quite as good as the Iridium. That is the trade-off for getting a US-made knife in that price point with these types of features. Blade, 3.4 inches. You've got Sandvik 14C 28N steel, and a rather gentle Tanto style blade. Like if you wanted to round these off and make it a drop point, that'd be very easy to do even with manual stones. So it's a very EDC friendly shape as opposed to like a tactical friendly Tanto shape, if that makes sense. Aluminum handles, blue accents, crossbar lock, reversible deep carry clip, kind of thin walls here on the clip, but hey, there you go. And the action feels good. Feels like ball bearings. It's because it is ball bearings. Yeah, what more do you want to know, folks? Let me know in the comments. Next up, we have got a lockback version of one of their swayback models from Bear & Son. This is the 484 LMB. We've got a 3.4-inch D2 blade with the Wharncliffe shape and blue jean micarta handles. Doesn't even really look like blue jean. Like it's more of like a rich blue as opposed to like a worn-in set of denim pants, of course. But I do like the color. D2, like I mentioned, stone-washed finish, hollow grind on that knife, nice straight edge and acute point. The sway back handle shape is really well suited to reverse grips especially. And you've got the humped lock back there, mid-mounted as well, to keep things secure, as opposed to the slip joint versions of this knife, which are also still available. You do have a pocket clip, right side only in this case. Two-hand opening primarily. You can see you've got a classic style of nail nick right there, allowing you to access the blade pretty easily. Not too difficult to open at all. But this is a pretty good series from them, whether you go with the locking or non-locking versions. I like them. I think the value there, again, especially for US-made knife, is very good. All right, next up, we have got one more Bear & Son knife, and this is going to transition us into the fixed blade portion of the video, which always pleases me. New Subhilt knives from Bear & Son. This is the Subhilt Fighter with a double-edged 6-inch D2 blade. There's also a single-edged drop point blade version available. Ivory, or like a white G10 and textured black G10 for the handles. This back section is really interesting here. The way it's milled or grooved and milled, it almost feels like kudu horn or something like that in its vibe, which is pretty cool. Feeling the hand, it's pretty lively feeling. It's not crazy heavy, which is nice. You've got a full-length tang, which is also nice, but it's covered up, sandwiched between these layers of G10, as you can see right there. The Subhilt itself, I'm gonna take a little bit of sandpaper to that actually. It's not sharp, but it's maybe a little, or it could be a little more comfortable in my hold right there. Of course, I'm not really that well versed in how to hold and operate a Subhilt knife, because I'm more of a camping guy, not a fighting guy. What are you gonna do? But yeah, apart from that, like I said, it feels nice and nimble. The sheath is nice and narrow, so it doesn't take up a ton of width on your belt. Nicely done. $113 for these knives right here. Next up, jumping up in price and in fit and finish, quite honestly, we have the Orlando Special from RMJ. There it is. $295 for this knife right here. For the blade, we've got Nitro V, double-edged, as I have mentioned, or did I mention? We have several double-edged knives to start the fixed blade section. 4.5 inches long, tungsten Cerakote finish on this, G10 handles, and that completely symmetrical experience with, that typifies a boot knife style design, and this is certainly a boot knife style design. And the sheath itself, unlike many boot knife products that don't actually have boot knifeable or boot carryable sheaths, you have got a knife here, or a sheath here, that would allow boot carry if you wish. It is Kydex. You've got a carrier plate here with this nice clip on the back here that can hold it inside a boot. You can also use this to carry inside the waistband, or just use it as a belt loop. It will work that way as well. And because the knife is symmetrical and double-edged, you don't even have to move that clip around if you want to carry it right hand, left hand, inside the waistband, outside the waistband, anywhere you please. The sheath is ready to go. It's going to do what you need. That is pretty nice. Now, if you like your double-edged tactical knife to be more combative rather than stealthy, got an option for you too. Dawson.
Stealth is optional.
Stealth is optional. We have the Woe Dog, not the War Dog, the WOE Dog from Dawson. And this has much more kind of like frontline combat vibes as opposed to stealthy tactical vibes that the Orlando Special could bring you. $680 for this Dawson. 7-inch MagnaCut blade, double-edged, hollow grinds on the edges, or the bevels themselves, or hollow grinds themselves. The edges themselves not crazy thin, because you do want there to still be a bit of durability on a kind of combat style knife like this. But the thickness behind the edge, because of that hollow grind, is kept a little bit thinner for a little bit longer than a flat grind would give you. Really, really nice. You've got stacked leather handles, a very pleasing shape both to look at and in the hand. Again, a completely symmetrical experience. So if you've grabbed the knife, you will know if you're oriented the correct way, because you've got an oval cross section to this handle rather than perfectly round. So you'll know, okay, I can adjust in either direction, and I've got the edge facing where I expect it to be facing, which is good. Sheath here, also really nicely done. Leather, slim enough with a retention strap and brass post on the front. Nice classic feeling vibes to complement the classic feeling vibes of the knife itself. Next up, we have got from Kronos Knives. We showed, I guess it was last week or the week before. Time is crazy these days.
At lunchtime.
Lunchtime, time is an illusion. Lunchtime, doubly so. If you're gonna quote my favorite lunchtime quote, you have to get it right.
Well, you gotta do the setup first.
I didn't set it up quite right. Anyway, we did show one of the other Ken Onion designed fixed blades from Kronos Knives. This week, I've got this family right here. They are all featuring the same handles. They're all roughly a 6-inch blade. Actually, this one right here is a 5.5 inch. This is the StiffNeck. We'll start with that one. It's got this sort of elliptical drop point shape, 5.5 inches, 1095 with a PVD coating on it. Really comfortable handles. G10 got a nice shape to them, a little bit on the round side, but nice swell here at the front, so it still does index pretty decently. I like the thumb scallops here at the front if you're going to use this in more utilitarian tasks. Of the three, I think this is my favorite blade shape. It's clean, but has some of that Ken Onion energy and has a little bit more kind of energy than just a standard drop point. I like that one. This one is probably the most distinctive. See, that first one was the StiffNeck. This one right here is called the TrueDefender, $240, 6.1 inch blade. Definite Ken Onion energy on this knife. Reminds me of the old Spec Bump blade for sure. Specs, otherwise the same. I actually should mention, these are all numbered. These are all out of 500 pieces on all of these. That one is $487. The StiffNeck is $256. And this last one is called the EliteSurvival, and this is $101 of 500. $250 for this one, 6.06 inch blade. So despite being kind of the same blade length as this previous one, it is a little bit more expensive, and that comes to what you get along with it on the sheath, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But this one has some interesting checkering here on the blade that could give you some extra grip if you were choking up on it a little bit. I'd say this is still, it's kind of classic survival knife feel to me in that, they talk about, elite survival. A survival knife to me is that crossover between a combat knife and an outdoors knife, and this one does it quite well. Protruding pommels on the backs of all of these. You could bash with that for sure. You've definitely got traction if you're using it in an inverted grip like so. Thickness on these looks to be about 3/16 of an inch, so pretty sturdy. Sliciest one would be this bad boy right here. I'm forgetting the names because they're all named different things, which is kind of funny. TrueDefender. The sheaths on the previous two versions are like so. Brown Kydex with a rotatable clip on the side here, kind of that tops style of belt attachment. If you wanted to add something like an ulti-clip, bet you could. Let's check out the spacing here real quick. Ooh, interesting. Not a standard Tech-Lock spacing. Your Civivi T-clip, however, actually might not work. They're broad enough. Let's check out a small ulti-clip. Yeah, no good there. So you're kind of limited to this. That's not true. There are other options out there with some more modular spacing on their slots, but a T-clip and then the standard sizes of the ulti-clip don't quite fit these. The true what did I say? Ulti-clip? Some ulti-clips may work, however. I don't have any here to kind of test and verify, however. The EliteSurvival comes with a fire steel. Very nice, nicely pointed feeling fire steel here. Nice and broad. You've got the metal cap here and retention with this shock cord, which is what allows you to keep it in place when you're going about your business. That's what you get extra. And it's only on that last blade shape of the three. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about your order. Last but not least, one more outdoor fixed blade. We have next gens from LT Wright. It's not the first time we've had the Next Gen, but it's the first time we've had this particular combination, and it just really speaks to me. 100 or 200 bucks for this, US made, handcrafted. We've got an A2 blade, about 3.3 inches on a spear point profile with a full flat grind. Fire Dog canvas micarta, or it's more like a burlap really, and orange liners on there. Really, really hand filling. Definitely on the round side, so it indexes a little less obviously, but it is comfortable no matter what kind of off angle you might be using this for, whatever kind of bushcrafty cuts you need to do with it. Super, super comfy feeling. And of course, being an LT Wright, you would expect it to come with a JRE Industries leather sheath, and you would be correct. Here it is. It is brown leather, standard style pouch sheath. Good stuff. Lifetime warranty on these as well, should always be mentioned. All right, that is all we've got for today, folks. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. Any of these knives interest you, or if they don't interest you, let us know. You can be mad down there, that's fine.
I will stop you.
Unless you use profanity. Those tend to get flagged by YouTube, and they just kind of die, so.
Yeah, the machine catches those.
Yes. But anyway, if you want to get your hands on any of these, we're silly today, I don't know.
It's after lunch.
It's after lunch when we're filming this. This pasta, it's carb heavy.
Nap time.
Good idea. Let's get out of this video so we can go nap. If you want to get your hands on any of these knives, check out the links in the description, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com, where I mentioned our Sezzle payment options. If you want to break up any of these more expensive knives into more manageable chunks, you can do that. And don't forget about our Knife Rewards program so you can earn free money to spend on a future knife. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera, and we're signing off. See you next time.